Hi, and welcome to Hamster Bites, the bite-sized podcast all about hamsters. After a couple of longer episodes, today should be a shorter one. Woohoo! You might be happier about that one. So, let's see how quickly I can sum up everything you need to and would want to know about hamster wheels. For basics, you can get wooden or plastic wheels. You want to be looking for a solid wheel, nothing with spokes or mesh, where hamsters can get their feet trapped and injured or causing bumblefoot. If you don't know what bumblefoot is, it's a bacterial inflammatory condition which can enter the foot through injury, cuts or abrasions, so you really want to be avoiding wheels that could potentially cause that. For dwarf and robos, it is recommended to get a wheel 8 inches or larger, and for Syrian hamsters, you want to be looking at 11 to 12 inches or larger. This is so the hamsters can run unencumbered, I struggle with that word, and with a flat back. I personally prefer plastic wheels because they are easy to maintain, and if your hamster pees in them, they are easy to wipe down. I use a solution of 50% vinegar and 50% water and wipe off with a flannel or bit of kitchen roll. I also give it a quick wipe with just water to rinse the vinegar smell off a bit. For those of you that prefer the wooden wheels, sometimes with a cork running track you can seal them with something like plastic coat. The type in little jars, not the sprays. This just helps protect them a bit if your hamster wheezes in the wheel, but you can sometimes replace the cork liners with a new one if they get really bad. Cork-lined wooden wheels are also recommended if you have a hamster with a limb or partial limb missing. It just means the impact when running can be absorbed better than on a plastic wheel, so hopefully they can continue running without causing themselves any harm. If you find that your hamster, especially the smaller species like dwarfs and robos, get flung around in their wheel, you may find getting them a larger wheel or one that has a front on it that causes it to be enclosed a little bit can help with all of that. One thing you don't often see talked about is the actual width of the wheel running track. This might not be an issue until a hamster gets older and develops something like arthritis. This happened with one of my Syrian girls, and whilst the silent runner in her enclosure was wide enough for her, I found the plastic Trixie wheel which she used when free roaming was too thin and her back legs were just falling off it, so I had to buy another wheel with a wider track. Let's talk about how noisy are wheels. And I personally can't tolerate noise. I'm very sensitive because of an illness I have, so I really love my silent wheels, and the very first wheels I got were the silent runner wheels. And 6 years later, when in use, they are still silent, except for the pitter-patter of the hamster's little feet, which I really adore. And I know some of the silent wheels can be a bit on the pricier side, but I think they are a good investment if you can afford one, especially if you're thinking of keeping hamsters for quite a while. Alternatively, you can always look out for one on second-hand websites. My favourite silent wheels are Silent Runners, Night Angel, Book Estate and the Harika wheel by Rodipet. And I have video reviews on all of these wheels on our YouTube channel, Cosmic Hamsters, and I'll leave links in the description below if you want to check any of them out. And for those of you that like the wooden wheels, I believe the Getzu and Hope's Healthy Treats are silent ones. I don't have any personal experience in using these, but this is what my friends in the hamster community who do use them have told me. And coming up in a minute, I've got a recommendation for one from one of our listeners. Also, if you free roam your hamster or get them out in a secure play area, I highly recommend having a second wheel for them to use in that space. Unless it is easy for you to get the one out of your hamster enclosure, lifting it in and out all the time. If you are looking for a cheaper wheel, the plastic Trixie wheel might be a good fit. They aren't silent, but they can be quite quiet, especially if you can test it out in a pet store first, as the quality of these do seem to vary. I also recommend having a second wheel rather than using a hamster ball. Hamster balls are considered dangerous because when using them, the hamster can bump into things and they can get their limbs stuck in the ventilation gaps, and they also can't get out of them if they don't like them or have had enough. They also can't access water in them, and I always recommend hamsters always have access to water, whether in their enclosure or out and about. Hamsters also rely heavily on their sense of smell to navigate, and using a ball prevents them from doing this. One last thing to watch out for with wheels is where to place them in your cage and the type of back they have on them, as some hamsters, especially Syrians, will and can use them to climb up and try and escape their enclosure. With some of my Syrian girls, I couldn't use the silent runners because they kept climbing up the back of it when it wasn't actually attached to the cage and was used on the stand. I found the Harika Rodipet wheel and Night Angel wheel helped with this, and just don't have the wheel too close to the side of the enclosure, as they can then shimmy up the enclosure, pressing themselves up in between the back of the wheel and the cage wall, and potentially escape, or start climbing across the roof. To end this episode, on the community post on our YouTube channel, I asked you all which wheels you have or recommend. So thanks to those that answered. Kikimar8479, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and Motionless Aimless are both loving their Night Angel wheels, and Joanna Shaw 4688 is loving her Book Estate wheels and the wooden Trixie Core Klein ones. Thanks for sharing that with us, guys. If you would like to join in and share your opinions and experience on our podcast episodes, please do look out for the post on our YouTube channel. I really do love reading what you all share. And I just really want to be able to share it on the podcast as well, so more people can learn from all your experiences. So thanks for that. And if any more of you want to share what your favourite go-to wheel is, please let us know in the comments. And thanks for listening. Until next time, stay cosmic.